Hello everyone, welcome back to Conversations with Mona. I really like that saying. After my first video, I was editing and I was like, oh my gosh, Conversations with Mona is perfect. So I think I'm going to call this YouTube what I'm doing, Conversations with Mona. What do you guys think about it? Let me know. But hi, I am back, and today I want to talk a little bit about my self-love journey and what I went through while transitioning my life into being the best version of who I can be. I kind of just want to give you guys some tips, some knowledge, and again, be open and vulnerable with you. And I'm super excited. So let's kind of just jump right into it. The reason why I wanted to talk about this topic is because I see a lot of people on social media, for instance, oh, self-love journey, I'm on my self-love journey. And it's like, are you really on your self-love journey? I really feel like social media is a place where people perceive things way differently than what they actually are. And I was that person once. Back, I want to say when I first started my self-love journey of, oh, I'm on my self-love journey. But was I really? Was I really? Not necessarily. So let me kind of go into depths with that and what I mean by being on your self-love journey. So a lot of people look at self-love as, I'm going to go get my nails done, I'm going to get my hair done, I'm going to go shopping. That means I love myself. And in fact, that is an action of self-love. It's self-care. There's nothing wrong with self-care. I think everyone should do self-care at least once or twice or 3 times a month, every single week at that. Pick a day and take time out of your week to do self-care, because that is an action of self-love. But I've realized that's the furthest people ever go, because self-love is actually a very messy, crazy journey to be in. And I didn't realize this until last August when I actually took a leadership class here in my city. I really thought self-love was just kind of a self-care thing. Let me go do yoga, let me go do this and that. But I wasn't really taking the time to get to know who I am, to really figure out what is it that I need to get up out of me, the toxic behaviors, the people that I surround myself with, the trauma that I do not want to deal with. Like, I didn't necessarily look at self-love as me doing those things, because in a sense I really didn't respect myself. And I think it really all comes down to, do you really respect yourself enough to be disciplined to go on this self-love journey? And so last August when I took this leadership class, you know, to be quite honest, when I went into this leadership class, I really thought it was just going to be you know how leadership classes are, if you've taken a leadership class, is kind of just in a business way leadership type of class and mentorship. But this was actually very vulnerable and very personal, and digging down deep into you and why you think you should be a leader, or why, or not even that, but it's kind of just why everyone has leadership skills in them and what you have to do to really be a good leader. And it all comes down to you as the person. And so last back August, I was like, oh my gosh, I started realizing all of these toxic behaviors that I was doing to myself, whether that's playing the victim for a lot of my traumas, all the way back down to my childhood. I didn't really necessarily want to deal with those traumas because it was very hard to take responsibility for what take responsibility for my actions, let's just say. And I know as a child, it isn't really your responsibility at that time for whatever has happened to you. But as an adult, you can take responsibility and know that, you know what, I'm not going to let that affect me anymore. And I never wanted to do that, because in a sense, I felt like me playing victim felt like I had control of something. I don't know what, but it was something. I felt control of, this is why I'm acting the way that I'm acting. And so I would just use that as an excuse. Well, this happened to me, so this is why I act this way, or this is why I do certain things this way or that way, because of trauma that I have been through. And I really realized that that is not healthy at all. And then it comes down to the people you surround yourself with. Are you surrounding yourself with people who necessarily don't even respect themselves, who are always in chaos, or always wanting to party and drink? You know, as friendships, I really think when you're in friendships, you should have a deeper connection than just getting up and smoking, and you know, like, that's high school stuff, all right? And I'm not judging those people, and I don't want anyone to think I'm judging anyone. I think I'm just speaking from my experiences and what I want out of my life. Now, whatever you want, whatever you are doing in your life, that's your business and that's you. But I think when you're on your self-love journey, you get to choose. Wait a minute. I don't like that toxic behavior, whether that's coming from me or coming from these other people that I surround myself with. I can choose to distance myself. That right there is you loving yourself. That right there is you respecting yourself enough to move forward from people, things, or even yourself that is really keeping you in this lower vibration, all right? And so last August, that's what I realized. I was like, oh my gosh, like, at one point, guys, I was drinking to black out because I didn't want to deal with my problems or what I'm really struggling with inside. And I would just mask it up with a whole bunch of people around me that weren't really my friends. They were just there to get fucked up and have fun and woo, you know how that is. And so I didn't really have people around me that if I was really going through something, I could really lean on them and rely on them. And so that was one really big thing in my life that I really had to change. Another thing is the way I react and allowing my emotions to take over me. And I'm still working on this. As I said in my first video, I am going back to therapy, and I'm actually taking the steps to get out my trauma and release it, because I know right now I'm kind of all over the place. But let me explain something to you guys. So when you have a lot of trauma, and another thing is, right now I'm all over the place, but another thing is, a lot of people think, oh, I don't have trauma, because people look at trauma. When people think of trauma, they think of this big, extraordinary event that happened. And a lot of people are like, nah, no, I don't have trauma because nothing big happened in my life to where it caused PTSD. But trauma is just as little as you being mistreated in your household your whole life by your family, let's just say, for an example. That is trauma that causes you to probably think of, oh, I'm not worthy of this, I'm not worthy of that. That right there is trauma. So I feel like everyone, I'm sure, probably has some type of trauma. And so what a lot of people do is they mask that up with drugs, with alcohol, with people, with things, with whatever, you know, with work. They mask it up and they're not really dealing with that. So what I learned in therapy this last month actually is that Okay, so here's your brain, right? Here's your brain right here. Here's a wall. Here's all of the trauma, little blocks. All right, here's trauma 1, trauma 2, trauma 3, trauma 4, trauma 5, however much you've been through in your life that has really caused you damage. That's all trauma. A lot of the times people don't process that trauma, so it gets stuck in the back of your head right here. So literally there's a wall, no, with all these traumas. And so what happens is, anything throughout your day, as little as a noise, as little as someone screaming or someone telling you, I don't like your shirt today. That right there, red sign, a trauma's gonna come out. And then you just react in a way that is impulsive, that really doesn't make sense. And so now, one of your traumas is out, and that's ruining your whole day. It could be your whole week. It could be 2 weeks. And you don't understand why. Why am I so angry? Why am I acting in a way that's so impulsive, and you can't get a hold of it? You can't get a grip on that emotion or those emotions. It's because you're not dealing with your trauma the proper way. And so what I have learned, therapy. Go to therapy. Therapy is not a bad thing. And I know a lot of people look at therapy as weakness, or I'm not going to therapy, I'm too good for that. No, or it doesn't even have to be like that. It's people are too scared to be open and vulnerable because maybe throughout their life they couldn't trust no one. But I promise you, therapy is so worth it. And so that's one thing that I did while being on my self-love journey, is going to therapy and actually figuring out my traumas one by one. My therapist actually does EMDR on me. And so that's been a process. I won't get into that. If you guys want to look up what EMDR means, go right ahead. You guys can look it up on your own. So that's one other thing. Therapy really, really helped me. Another thing that has really helped me with going on my self-love journey and actually doing the things to better myself is isolating myself. Now let me tell you, for the longest, I hated being alone. And I never understood why I hated being alone. I just thought it was because I'm a social butterfly. Yes, I'm very social. I love being around people. But it came to the point where every time I was alone, or every time that Tyler went somewhere, I would call someone and have someone be right next to me because I did not want to be alone. And while going through my self-love process this past year, since last August, I realized the reason why I never liked being alone was because I didn't want to deal what was really going on in my mind, what was really going on inside. Every time I was alone, I would feel some type of abandonment, some type of I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. And those are because all of those traumas from my past would come up, and I didn't like that feeling. I hated it. Like, no, I don't want to be here right now. Like, let me just have someone come so I can get distracted and I don't have to focus on what I'm really thinking. And so when I realized, I'm just masking up all of my problems by being around people that probably necessarily aren't the right people for me to actually even really be around. But I'm doing it because I don't want to deal with my shit. And I finally, guys, I started being alone. I isolated myself probably from, I want to say, after the Wake showroom. Because obviously, so if you guys are from my city, Tyler and I did this really big event last winter. It was called the Wake showroom. So obviously around that time, I was very, very busy. I had to be around people for business things and stuff like that. But after the Wake showroom, I really was like, all right, this is my time to isolate myself and actually figure out what the hell is going on with me inside. And that was very, very scary. I stopped communicating with people that necessarily didn't have my best interest or couldn't really understand my growth and what I really want to do in life. I isolated myself from my toxic behaviors that I was doing. And when I wanted to do those toxic behaviors, I would sit my booty on the couch or in my room. Honestly, I would actually go in my room, lock the door, and I would sit with myself. And I did this for months, guys. I feel like I probably isolated myself from like December to probably around May. This summer, May, is when I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to like be social again and be around people, because I really needed to learn how to control my emotions, what I was going through within. And so during that period, I did a lot of journaling, guys. I did a lot of yoga. I actually got into dancing out my stagnant energy for a while. Again, I would go in my room, I would lock my door, and I would turn on any type of music that I was feeling. So if I was feeling angry, I would turn on music that was kind of grungy and like, wanting to like just punch it out, right? If I was feeling happy or loving, I would turn on some vibey, sexual type of music to really get that energy like flowing and out. But if I needed to cry, I would turn on music that would make me feel my emotions and let it out. I would sit in my room and I would literally just dance it all out. So that is a really helpful tip. And then, so I isolated myself for a while. I really figured out who I am. That's when I actually went into therapy, was around that time as well. And so being on your self-love journey is a lot more harder, I think, than people think it really is. People just think being on your self-love journey is like butterflies and rainbows and always having fun, but really loving yourself is very, very hard, and especially when you come from a background that doesn't have discipline, that doesn't have self-worth. It can be very hard. A lot of the times your brain plays tricks on you and you're like, oh my God, like let me just like go back to how it used to be, because it's so much more easier than that growth mindset and that self-love mindset. And so over this past year, I've really learned to respect myself, discipline. I'm still working on discipline. I feel like that's probably my biggest struggle, is discipline. And like when I say I'm going to do something, I need to do it. So I'm really, really working on that. And I think that would be let's be honest, self-love is like a lifetime journey that you're on. You know, every single day you're learning new things about you. You're going through life, and life is up and down, no matter how happy you are, no matter if you feel like you're on the top of I love myself fully. There's always going to be problems. That's just life. And I think that's why God put us all here, is to overcome those problems and learn lessons. And that's another thing too, like being on your self-love journey, you really realize that like, wait, I'm just here to learn lessons in life, and I know God is doing this for a reason and for a purpose. And so when you look at it at that, when you look at life at that, you can, in a sense, how do I say it? Because I don't want to say emotionalist, because when you're not emotional, you know, that's kind of, you can get in a bad spot. But you can handle your emotions more appropriately. That's one thing, guys. My speech, I stutter, and I say words weird, so don't mind me. But anyway, you'll start to act in a way, and react, I should say, in a way that's appropriate. You know, you won't go overboard with your emotions, and you won't really allow your emotions to get to the extreme. And again, I'm still working on that aspect as well, guys, because I'm an emotional Cancer right here. No, I'm just kidding. But not really kidding. But so yeah, that's kind of my self-love journey. To kind of give a recap before I get off, and I really hope this video helped you guys. Kind of give you a recap. I started my self-love journey back in August. I really learned a lot about myself with my toxic behaviors, the people I surround myself with, how I react when it comes to my emotions, and what I'm really feeling inside, and really going inside of me, even though it is so hard to do, guys, and it is so scary, especially when you're trying to heal your traumas and trying to get over that phase of playing the victim. That's another thing. I need to stop playing the victim. I've always felt growing up that I was a victim. No. No, no, no. Because when you are a victim of life, you just allow life to go through. When you take responsibility, that's when you actually get power, all right? That's when you're actually powerful. I really said that. That's when you're actually a very powerful human. Loving yourself, I really think that loving yourself is so worth it, guys. It's so worth it. That's when you really realize who's really there for you and who really isn't there for you. That's when you realize a lot about yourself, and life is a lot more better this way. I'm not going to say it's easier, because it's never easy, but you have more emotional intelligence when it comes to life. And I think when you have more emotional intelligence, your life is just a little bit more better, right? Right? Can you agree? Let me know. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry if I was all over the place. I was really trying to keep on track, but sometimes my brain can kind of be like, whoo, 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 whoo. You know? Okay, anyway. I hope you have a good day today, and do something that's going to benefit your future self today. Take action, because without action, you're always going to be dreaming. And there's nothing wrong with dreaming, but what a lot of people get mixed up is dreaming with action. They think that dreaming is going to get them to the next place in life, phase in life, next stepping stone in life. But without action, you're still going to be in the same spot you were a year ago, 2 years ago. So do something that is going to get you to the next stepping stone. All right. I will see you on my next video. Thank you so much for listening. I really, really hope that you took something from this video. Comment down below, what is it that you're going to do today to get you to that next step in life? I love you, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.